They're there because they want to win.
And that's what people remember.
And it was just such a beautiful thing for the season.
If GW football had a program right now,
Three very strange words. Offensive line.
Less hits, less earned runs, less runs.
Give me an NFL contract, and I'll play 2 extra.
we'll call it hazard pay.
If anyone can spark them, it might be their coach, Mike Singletary.
It's kind of a pillow fight.
It's not going to be the end of the league because all the players are dead.
The show is also unstoppable
must go on.
because we've still got another segment left. You, unstoppable. You, stoppable today, which is, of course, the opposite of unstoppable.
Who's ready to play?
Good morning, good afternoon, good middle of the night. This is Unstoppable here on GWTV. You're tuned into Channel 61, coming to you from the 5th floor of GW's School of Media and Public Affairs. I'm your host of Unstoppable, Chris Geissler, here back again with Unstoppable regulars. Andrew Hanks coming off a win last week, but a loss against his last time against Austin. And Austin back once more to see if he can continue his pattern, his second time back from a semester in Europe. And we're ready to talk the Super Bowl because it's coming up this weekend, A-10 basketball, the NBA, the best sports cities, Major League Baseball, and, of course, rapid fire at the end. Let's see. Let's start off with the Super Bowl. It's the biggest day in American sports. Who have you got winning the game?
I like the Steelers right now. The way their defense is playing, yes, the Packers also have a very good defense, but when it comes down to experience, comes down to the quarterback you want. I think you want the 2-time Super Bowl winning, Big Ben up behind, behind center to lead that team. Mendenhall is played great throughout the playoffs. And then you look at also the guy who's been great for the Packers, Starks. He's a young guy, might have a little jitters. I think Mendenhall is a greater running back than him. I think Big Ben is more reliable in this position than Aaron Rodgers currently, and I think that's what's going to lead.
I don't think we know what to expect from Starks. I mean, he's kind of come out of nowhere. He's been running hard, but you don't really know what you're going to get out of him.
Well, the Packers have never relied on their running game, so I don't know why now we would think that they would go to the running game. The ball's going to be in Aaron Rodgers'
hands. This is how they've been going
the
throughout the
playoffs.
playoffs.
Listen, the
He's
ball's
had
going to be in Aaron
120
Rodgers'
yards.
hands. But anyway, I think Ben Roethlisberger played poorly in his first Super Bowl. I think he played okay against the Seahawks.
Who's reigning in his first Super Bowl?
I don't think that because of him they're a lock. Statistically, during the regular season, the Steelers had 48 sacks, the Packers had 47. The defenses are very similar. They're both 3-4s. They both have good corners. You're looking at almost mirror images of the teams besides the running games, but I think that the Packers' offensive line's a little bit better. I think that they can get pressure on the quarterback. I think that they will be able to run the ball, and listen, Palomalu's great, Harrison's great, but I still think the Packers are going to win this game because of their wide receivers. They have the best wide receiving core from Jennings, Driver, Jones, Jordy Nelson, all of them, even down to their fourth tight end now that they've had. I think that the team just has what it takes. I think that they're ready, and, I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to get his first Super Bowl.
Vegas currently has the Packers winning by 2.5. Do you see it being that close of a game?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a close game, maybe a field goal or so. I hope it's a great game. Everyone's anticipating a really great game.
I think it's too old school big NFL
There's no way. I
teams.
don't see any team running away with this, winning 45-21. The defenses will always keep these teams in the game, and I think that they're going to probably score around 20 to 23 points each.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be a good game. The thing that the offensive line of the Packers being a little bit stronger, they're both about the same in the league averages. You have a lot of rookies on both lines, so the defenses are going to come into a big play. But I think Palomalu, the secondary of the Steelers have proven they come for big games. They come out and they will.
I don't think they faced a receiving core like this though. Some guys like James Jones who could stretch the field. A guy like Jennings, Driver, both possession receivers. Aaron Rodgers is incredibly elusive. I don't care what you say about Ben
Roethlisberger. Is incredibly elusive.
He's hard to get down.
No, he's also a good quarterback out of the pocket. He can move. Maybe he's not as young nibble as Rodgers. He's not going to go for the runs and maybe pick up that first down on third down.
So hard to bring down.
Like Rodgers, but he can get out of the pocket and he can let his receivers get out and he can make plays.
Between Jenkins and Clay Matthews, these guys are strong guys. And I'm not saying, listen, the Ravens are very good. They have Nada, and he's faced them several times. But I think that
I mean, the Jets
Clay
also
Matthews is
have
the best
the Jets
pass
also have
rusher.
an impressive receiving core as well. Something you got to look at too. Like that
but
defense has been.
they're the best in the league by far.
Okay.
I'm pretty.
All
That's
right.
my
Well,
opinion.
I see your point, but the defenses, do they really? I mean, you just said they match up pretty evenly. Does that hold true for even like the secondary? Like, are they going to be able to cover? Is it because they can't cover the Packers wide receivers? Is that what
The
you're
Packers
saying?
have a better secondary. Charles Woodson and Tron Williams, who's been incredible throughout the playoffs.
A secondary that includes Troy Polamalu is as good.
I think they're both good defenses, and because of that, they're both so high grade, so pedigree defense in the NFL that we can see it's going to be the offense winning this game. It's going to be low scoring. I like Mendenhall over Starks. I like you can get him out on some screens. He had great games through the playoffs. I think that's going to be one of the biggest factors in this game.
I don't think Mendenhall was. I think the Jets' tackling was horrible in the playoff game. Mendenhall's good. Don't get me wrong, but the offensive line is terrible. You're relying on Flozell Adams to take care of Clay Matthews.
Flozell Adams had a pretty good season.
Listen, they've
He
lost.
used to be a Pro Bowl.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
true.
he used to be good. All right, let's go back 5 years and play the same game.
I
The
mean,
stats
how much does it come down to Pouncey being there, though? That
Pouncey,
But even
Pouncey is huge.
on the Green Bay line, Balaga's not had that great of a rookie year, and they're still just as inexperienced, these guys. I think it's a wash offensive
Chad
line.
Clifton covering the blind side.
I mean, that is rough. The off to a combative start here on Unstoppable, which we always like to see. I think currently the Packers are kind of the hot choice, but I think you make the right point with Ben Roethlisberger being the X factor. Super Bowls tend to be kind of sloppy games, especially in the beginning. Both teams are really amped up. I think when you look to the rock that Ben Roethlisberger is, I think that's a good person to really pin it on as someone who make that key play and who is reliable. I think that's the key word you had there. First segment goes to Andrew, even though I'm actually taking the Packers to win the game. The A10 season, we're about halfway through in basketball. The GW team looking, it's up and down, depending, feast or famine, seems like for the Colonials. But the A10 as a whole, which teams do we see making the NCAA tournament out of the A10?
I think Duquesne's going to make it 8-0 in the conference already.
Fresh off a victory over our Colonials.
I think you're going to see Xavier make it, mostly because even if the committee is not sure, Xavier's always made good runs, and they're a competent team, and they know that they'll make a run.
I always pick them to go just a little too far.
Well, I don't pick them far enough ever. And Richmond, because Richmond was in the tournament last year, they're a very good team. They've been consistent all season. They've been the top of the A10 for the last couple of years. I don't see Temple making it. I think they're going to be the odd man out. I don't think they're going to want to take 4 teams in the A10.
I completely disagree. Temple is the pedigree team of the A10, even though they have 2 losses in conference. They were ranked, though, beginning of the year, but they're still around one of those top, 50 teams. That's why they'll definitely get picked, with the field. I agree Duquesne is having a great year. They look like the Colonials kind of 06, going undefeated. They've 9th in the nation in points, a lot of steals, points off turnovers. So I do agree with that. Xavier just lost to Charlotte. I think that's going to put him down a peg. Xavier could make a run, but with how competitive other conferences are, one loss could throw you out. It might not throw you out if you're in the SEC or the Big Ten, but
I think Xavier
like
plays very well in the A10 tournament every single year.
Yeah,
and Temple does too. But if Temple loses early, I think that they have no chance of making it in the A10 tournament. I don't think they're going to give it to them.
I don't think they're going to lose early. I think Dayton could also sneak in because they play usually pretty good in the A10 tournament. I wouldn't pick it. They're not going to get an overall bid, but they could come out, get into the finals in the tournament. They won the NIT last year. They're looking all right. Richmond, I do agree also. Richmond has Kevin Anderson's one of the best players in the league, and they're going to get over the hump. Get into the tournament. Who's got
the coaching to kind of who's got the coach that makes that difference for him? Who would you say is the coach of the year right now in the A10?
I like Mooney at Richmond. The program has just gone up with him there over the last few years. They made the tournament last year. This year, I'm pretty confident they'll go back again. They're selling out all their home games. He's just revitalized the program at a very small school, a very obscure school with not that much history in basketball. And I believe he deserves recognition.
All right, but you got to take the coach that's 8-0 in the conference right now. That's Ron Everhart, Duquesne. I mean, the team's 8-0. You said yourself, ninth in the
06 Colonials.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, if you're going to compare him to our team, you're giving him pretty high regards right now. I think that
Hobson won Coach of the Year that year, though.
doesn't matter who should be. Okay, 8-0, you're at the top of your conference, and I would say a very competitive conference. I think GW's up. I think even though it fluctuates, a lot of these teams are up, and
last year was a really good year for the conference.
There's no reason to believe that a coach who takes his team, at this point, 8-0, you got to give him Coach of the Year.
Moving on to our own Colonials, we've got 4 remaining home games. That's Richmond, Charlotte, Temple, and Dayton. Which one you say is the lock to win? Are there any of those that are a lock?
Well, in the order of how I have it that they will most likely to win, it would be Charlotte, Dayton, Temple, Richmond. Even though Richmond's not as high as Temple, Dayton. Charlotte. I think that Charlotte, they're not a good team. And GW, these are the games you got to win. Right now, they're 4-4 in conference, and Temple and Richmond are just. We already said that we think they're tournament teams. At least one of us does. So these are the teams that are. Yeah, these are the teams that you're not necessarily supposed to beat, but it'd be nice to beat. I think Charlotte is definitely the biggest lock.
Yeah, I agree. We can win with Charlotte here. The problem with that, though, is there's no really headline for that game, as in a buff-out senior night. Something last year, they were a better team than us. They were statistically better, and we beat them here with homecoming. You felt a lot of the fans getting into it. So that's a little iffy, but I think we can win. Dane, it's going to be senior night. We didn't show up for senior night last year at all. They lost to St. Joe's. But I think they could win that, too. With Richmond's a buff-out. I think that's the next one, not Temple. Temple, I think, has always played strong against us. I really don't see us winning. They have an NBA lottery pick in Lavoy Allen, possibly, and they're just a better team than us.
So you're saying that the Colonials have been able to feed off home court advantage, and then you're saying it's important enough of a factor to say that that's why we can beat these teams. It comes down to the buff out. It comes down to senior night.
I think we need a lot of people behind this team. You see they have done better with a larger crowd last year when we had Xavier up 10 with about 7 minutes left. It was one of the largest crowds last year. They went to the Sweet 16 last year. Yeah. So you see that it has taken effect over the years.
So would you say that it comes down to, we get one of these wins, we get 2 of these wins? What's your plan for these 4? The battle plan.
I think ideally you got to beat Richmond. Dayton would also be a very, very, very winnable game. If you beat Temple and or Richmond, great. That's a great successful season.
All right. That's a tougher one to award. I'd say that the Temple is probably a good choice to make the tournament. So I'd say that you make the right point there. I agree 8-0 is a good reason to pick Coach of the Year. But I think you make the correct point that the program itself, the way the program is growing for the Itsy Bitsy Spiders is a very, very important thing there. And, I like your argument about the home court advantage. 2-0 lead to start for Andrew. On to the NBA, the association, and a fact or fiction segment here on Unstoppable. Fact or fiction, the team's record should be a major factor in determining all-star selections and MVP choice.
I will say fiction. Mostly on the all-star selections, but the MVP is a little bit different. Kevin Love should be an all-star because someone needs to score on these bad teams. So it should not be the MVP, Someone's got to put points in. Every team's going to score
at least. They're still going to score 80, 90 points.
Exactly. Yeah. So someone's going to score. Someone can score 30 points a game, but that doesn't make them the most valuable player in the league. Makes them one of the best players in the league, and that is why they should be making all-star teams. Grabbing 15.5 boards a game is
phenomenal.
Incredible. Yeah. He is making Dwight Howard, who has like 13. No one even talks about Dwight Howard, all right? He is an incredible rebounder. He is the only reason that team is even relevant. Michael Beasley's been good, but, Kevin Love's been great. I think that you need to evaluate records. You need to throw out records when it comes to all-star selections because I think that Boston does not deserve 4 players on the all-star team.
That's a little ridiculous.
I mean, I agree. You throw out one for the all-star, for the MVP, you kind of were talking my argument for me. You don't want the one guy on the team, you can put up a lot of points. Maybe Kevin Love is a little bit different because he's a special player. But, if you're putting up your team leading numbers but you're on a terrible team, I don't think it should go. I think it should look a lot at how they are making their team progress and if they're going into the playoffs, where they went. I think that's a large factor, being clutch down the road.
Who do you think is a better player, also. Ray Allen or Kevin Love?
Kevin Love.
Exactly, and Ray Allen is just on a good team. What does he score? 17 points a game, give or take. And he's a great piece on their team and integral to the success of the team. But he's not an all-star.
Yep.
If Ray Allen though makes that clutch 3, with time winding down in the playoffs in Game 7 against whoever, that's important. That's important. These guys
when they're evaluating the Hall of Fame.
Okay. I see your point, but I think that's a great thing to say. Kevin Love versus Ray Allen. Fact or fiction? There's a lot of talk right now about the Lakers moving Ron Artest. Fact or fiction? It's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen because right now, he said that he wants to stay there. They have the issues about how trades open, and they automatically went to Artest too. The rumor mill just focused on him, and I'm sure he is a trade option, but it shouldn't be all placed on him. They could make other moves.
He's had a bad season. He's had a bad season.
He's only averaging 8 points a game.
He is a person that is just a cancer on that team.
He's easy to scapegoat.
Exactly. He's easy to scapegoat. He won his championship. He's a little bit complacent. The team needs a guy more like back to the Trevor Ariza type that was playing defense and shooting threes, and not someone like
pining for the days of you.
So with all these things going down against Artest, though, it's going to pick him up. He's got 30. He's got a large contract for the next 3. He's already 32, and he has
Go back
been
to
Kobe Bryant still runs that
Sacramento.
team.
They
Kobe
could bring
Bryant,
in Aubrey
listen. That'd be great for the Lakers. Kobe Bryant still runs that team, and as he quoted recently, said, Mitch Kupchak, do your job. Be the GM, make a trade, spark this team. The Lakers are the kind of team with the kind of tradition that they're not going to just roll over and be like it's okay.
Clyde Drexler made a comment this week. Maybe Charles Barkley would call him a knucklehead, but he said that putting an NBA team in London is maybe 10 years or so away. Will the NBA put a team in Europe? Fact or fiction?
No, they will not.
No?
I don't understand this. I can see, I guess, London's 6-7 hours away, so it's kind of going the West Coast, flying out there for a road trip. But how's it? It's not going to work. It's not going to be able to schedule all the games. Why expand there? There's probably going to be a little interest on it.
Absolutely fiction, because the team that lives or is the London team, they're going to have to make 20-day home away stands, and then they're going to do 20 days at home. It just doesn't work. The travel, obviously, and also the practicality. What player wants to go play in London?
Yeah.
Okay.
When they
NBA
play,
you would be like the guy in Europe, though. You know what I mean? Like, what about? Okay, but we should increase the amount of games there, right? If they're absolutely selling them out, which they are, we can increase the amount of games there, right? If we're not going to put a team.
There's a reason they put the Nets and the Raptors in London.
Okay. Well, there you go. We don't want to watch them here in America. You win the segment with that right there. Done. 2-1. We're debating here just a general sports topic. The NCAA home court advantage. There's a lot of great sites that you want to go play, like the Charles E. Smith Center. A lot of places that you want to go see just because the spectacle that the fans provide. You watch it just because of the fans, not necessarily because of the game, or maybe a little bit because of the game. But, the fans are a huge part of it. What is the best NCAA home court environment?
I think even as much as I love that Charles E. Smith Center, I'd have to go with Cameron Indoor Stadium, Coach K Court. Cameron Crazies, everybody dressed.
Oh, baby, the Dukies.
Dick Vitale gets up for those games more than any other games. It's more of who's coming in. Every time Carolina comes in, every time any ACC team comes in, it's just madness. When you have to have
people camp out for months.
When you have a guy,
they do that.
Yeah, there is a whole town dedicated to the stadium. When you have to have your coach go and tell personally to people they have to calm down at your basketball games because they're doing too much crazy things, it's an incredible experience, an experience that I think any single college student would love.
Is there something better?
I think going to the Big 12, Kansas, the Allen Fieldhouse. ESPN did an article a few months ago about noise levels in the state in different stadiums, arenas, and it was voted number 1. Is definitely extremely loud. You saw that how much they went out to a run in front of Kansas State the other day. They just.
So you're prepared to say that Quest Field in Seattle is the best place to play a football game because they are the loudest?
It's one of the better places. Yes, I believe. I totally believe.
I think
that their playoff win. Yeah, their playoff win was a lot because of Quest. I think
that. Listen, when you have
it was absolutely because of Quest Field.
You don't. It's not just the noise. They're just as crazy fans in Kansas.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Definitely.
But they're surrounded. At Cameron, they're on top of you. But at Kansas, it's just the sea of people all around you. It's bigger, it's louder. How do you argue with that?
I think that the tradition of Cameron Indoor Stadium and the actual both teams have always been good, but Duke, I think that if you ask people what's Cameron Indoor Stadium and what's Allen Fieldhouse, they would know what Cameron Indoor Stadium is many more times. I think that it's a much has more tradition. It's crazier on TV. On TV, you see the people on the court from the behind the announcers. They are so far.
It's true.
They're so close to the court. It's an incredible atmosphere.
They're just as close to the court. I mean, they're both crazy environments. I agree with you. Just off of what I've seen this year, they both have great traditions. I would just rather go and see this Big 12 basketball team, this Kansas team that just goes on runs in the stadium.
They feed off
it feels like it could one of the best college sports environments there is.
Okay. It is Super Bowl weekend. I guess we can officially say that. The Super Bowl rotates around to a few different sites, fair weather cities, and apparently going to into New York.
I like that.
In a few years. But what's the best place to have the Super Bowl? Should they have it in Hawaii? What's the best place to have the Super Bowl?
I mean, I like when they have it at Tampa Bay. This decade, it's a very nice stadium. Tampa Bay's beautiful. They got that pirate ship, and if they're gonna keep the tradition of keeping it down south, it's going to New York, but it's not going to be there. The north the predominant amount of time. I think it's just a beautiful site for them to have it.
Tampa Bay's a place where the weather could affect it. I'm going to take you to a place that the weather has never affected anything poorly ever, and that is San Diego. That is San Diego, where it is 70 degrees.
As much.
It's
a
one of the oldest stadiums in the NFL.
Old stadium.
It's one of the oldest stadiums in the NFL.
It's nice.
You're talking about the best place to play a Super Bowl. Dallas Stadium is gorgeous. I've never heard a bad review about it, but the weather is putting a mark on it.
In the game, you won't notice it.
Listen, you're talking to the wrong person, but I think San Diego is the best place for fans to go, not have to worry about anything but the game. It's beautiful there. It's warm there. I don't think going to Hawaii. I think Hawaii's a little crazy, but something. I mean, fans will go.
I think
fans will go, but they're not
Hawaii?
gonna.
Not my worst idea.
They're not gonna run there like they will to a place like San Diego.
Okay. I'm surprised it's not Arizona. They got that glorious stadium. You play it on natural grass while inside. Just saying.
It could be multiple places. I mean.
Now he's trying.
No, not multiple.
Not multiple. We'll play the
change his
first half.
answer.
No, I want it in
Tampa
Tampa
Bay.
Bay.
Hawaii. We'll have the first half in Tampa Bay,
Yes.
and then we'll have the post-game show in Arizona.
And we'll do the Pro Bowl in Ralph Williams Stadium.
The Ralph Wilson Stadium in Buffalo. That was my other choice. It was going to be Arizona or Ralph Wilson
I
Stadium.
think New York would be an absolute
Buffalo.
disaster.
Mm-hmm.
It would be an absolute
I
disaster
think
in
so.
Buffalo.
I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be fine.
They'll just call it.
They never played a game in the snow or in the cold in
Not a Super
NFL.
Bowl.
No.
I know it's going to be a normal game.
They'll call it the Winter Classic.
Yeah.
That's a tough one to award. It's hard to argue against Cameron Indoor Stadium. I think you did a good job making your arguments, but it's hard to argue against that. I think you make the correct point with Coach K having to go tell people to chill out. I think is an incredibly important thing. They get a little too crazy there, but I think you make the right point there. And we're just the way I like it, headed towards a decisive fifth segment once again here on Unstoppable. And we're talking baseball for the decisive fifth segment. Major League Baseball pitchers and catchers are coming in soon. Everybody's favorite day of the whole year. At least it's my favorite day of the calendar year. Which team that failed to make the playoffs last season do we expect to make the playoffs this season?
I think it's a lock to say the Red Sox.
I'm
saying around right now, locking it down.
Where's the lead pipe? Where's the lead pipe lock?
Pettit's not going to be back for the Yankees.
Too soon.
If you saw the press conference with Manny Ramirez and Johnny Damon, where Damon says, "I'd like to play 162," and Manny goes, "You can play 100. I can play 62." It shows you the lack. It's Manny's chilling in Florida. He's not there. I don't think he's there to win a championship. They sold off most of their team. Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, just to name a few. And the team is going to get Beckett back, Daisuke back. A lot of their starting pitching.
They were so injured
Papelbon
last
is
season,
pitching for his life. They have a lot of advantages going into the season.
Isn't Papelbon a weakness now, though?
Well,
He's
they have
human for
Bard.
sure.
They have Bard there, so he's literally pitching for his job.
What do you got?
I mean, I agree with Boston. They're definitely
that's
a lock.
the easy pick.
Upgrading. The Cardinals every year, I think they're a threat. They're 1-2 punch. Wainwright and Carpenter, and then you got Holiday.
I mean, it's
and
tough. It's tough to argue if the Reds are going to repeat winning that division.
Yeah, the Reds, and then also I look at
that's the Reds.
But
Milwaukee. You have Prince Fielder's contract year. They just got Greinke.
Yeah.
I think they're a team who could make a surprise run this year, especially if Ryan Braun has a great year. Fielder's playing for his contract.
Okay,
and
so
more
when Braun and Fielder have had great years, the team has not made the playoffs. What has St. Louis done? What has been their marquee addition that makes us think that they're going to make the playoffs this year?
I mean, maybe
They don't
Matt
have to have
Holliday
a
will play
marquee
more games.
addition.
Yeah, I mean,
just the way the normal, you have up years, you have down
Pujols
years.
had a little
I just
bit of
think
a
that
down, yeah.
I don't think Pulse is down here. I think that you just gave the point that they're going to beat each other up in the NL Central. The Reds are great.
Reds are great.
The Reds are very good. The Reds are very good. The NL is stacked. The Phillies are going to be great. Obviously, you don't have to play them that many times, but I just think
ridiculous.
I just think
the
that
Cardinals,
like
I think, are going
Harlem-
to have a fire
they're
under
like the
them
Harlem
to
Globetrotters.
get back to the playoffs. After what they got embarrassed by the Reds last year. They had with Brandon Phillips saying everything, and it looked like the Cardinals were going to take the series. They went up 6 games. They just collapsed. All right, and I think they
baseball's
have
a
the
long
possibility.
season, and the Red Sox brought in guys that have been incredible. They showed Adrian Gonzalez's stats if he was playing Petco versus Fenway, and he would have had like 5 more home runs, 15 more doubles, tons of more extra base hits. Yeah. He's an incredibly good defensive first baseman, and the Red Sox have not had a stable left fielder since Manny. Crawford.
Since Manny.
No one's not agreeing with the Red Sox here.
All right,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying that the teams that you're giving me are nice.
Just saying.
But we're asking, the question is, which team will make the
Just
playoffs
saying.
that did not make it in the last year?
The Oakland A's. That's all
The
I'm
Oakland
saying.
A's are
Oakland
upcoming
A's.
team.
Just saying. Josh Willingham. Let's see. Baseball only has the 4 teams from each league that make the playoffs, the smallest of any of our playoff systems. I mean, if you look at MLS, 10 of the 19 teams will make the playoffs this year. But in baseball, should they expand the playoffs to include more teams?
Yes, I think they absolutely should. They're looking at expanding just one more wild card team. I think that's completely fair. You see teams that, like I listed, the Cardinals, the Brewers, or some teams have.
And then in
have
the
good
AL would just be any.
I think
the third team from the AL
I think
East.
it's crazy. I think it's crazy because what's this one extra wild card team going to do? Play the other wild card team, and then now you play 162 games. And you're going to play a 1-game playoff, a 3-game playoff. No, that's incredible.
I think it's fine.
You'd have to switch it to 8. You'd have to switch
I think okay.
You'd have to switch it to 8, and you can't do that because making the playoffs in baseball is like a sacred thing, and that means you've had a good season no matter what. If you
have to win your division.
Yeah,
There are
or
teams
win
who have a
95
good
games.
season, who are having great seasons and not being allowed to play in the playoffs, show their potential, make the run they
look at the
want
NBA.
to
The
run.
playoffs are diluted.
Because
the playoffs are absolutely diluted. And in football,
this
it
is
works.
not the NBA at all.
In
That was
football-
the complete opposite.
In football,
you're
it
looking at.
works because it's a 1-game system. If you have to play 162 games
And
and
then
you tell me
play
I got to play
a lot
1 game
more.
to decide my whole fate, that's crazy.
The NBA lets teams who win 500, who are at 500 record, go into the playoffs. Baseball lets teams who win 90 games not get into the playoffs.
I personally agree with Austin, but that's an incredibly tough segment. That was a lot of fun, guys. I think we just witnessed the greatest comeback in unstoppable history. Austin, I think you make the correct point there. The system is diluted, and you make the correct point that after 162 games, that should be enough to decide who makes the playoffs and who doesn't. It's also sacred to make the playoffs, which is important. Whereas in the NBA, it's entirely pointless because everyone who's any
like a
good at
tune-up
all
series.
makes the playoffs. And you have teams that coast, like the Celtics last year. I think your argument is good that you include more teams, and it's unfair that there's certain teams, like for instance the Red Sox last year, were a good team, didn't make the playoffs just because there wasn't a spot for them.
These guys are not going to say, oh, an extra series, I'm so tired after this year.
It's not that.
We
It's
get in the
just
playoffs.
it's just the principle of you play a 162-game season. But Austin is unstoppable today after falling behind 2-0 to come back and win 3-2. And an impressive win for Austin. Now on to rapid fire to wrap up this edition of Unstoppable. Bill Belichick was named the NFL Coach of the Year. Who should have been NFL Coach of the Year?
I think Mike Smith. I think Belichick had a great season. He took but he still has Tom Brady, so I can't really say that is the reason.
He was good with
Mike
Matt
Smith was
Castle.
great. He really coached up Matt Ryan this year. Great defense.
Who do you got?
Mike McCarthy, just with the Packers, it's all about taking that next step up. They've been good for a few years, but now you can see how much Aaron Rodgers has matured and how they've taken that next step, got in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely true. We saw a goalie fight this week in the NHL, or goalie punch, because
Goalie knockout.
it's hard to call it a goalie fight. But Is that more or less exciting than just a standard NHL fight?
It's more exciting, absolutely.
Let's see.
When's the last time that happened?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The best part about the fight was all of a sudden you see him coming down, and the ref kind of
And then,
touches
yeah,
him.
he
and just-
juked-
He
That's
juked
why
him.
hockey's so
It was
great.
a DPH.
That's why hockey's so great. They just let it. Listen, when you have guys that are literally can't be hurt by the punch, and one guy just knocks a guy out,
That was-
it's
that was great.
That's priceless.
And NASCAR has a new point system. Hopefully, will keep its fans more involved late into the season and require less trigonometry. Is that going to better engage the fans in NASCAR?
I guess so.
You guess so.
I guess so.
Well, there you go.
I know nothing.
as a
of
middle of
NASCAR.
the
I'm
road-
not going to lie.
As
Right here.
a
I can
very
drive my
casual
car.
NASCAR fan, sure, I think that's cool.
I think it's. I think it's a good idea.
The simpler, the better. The sport's pretty simple.
It's a very
driving
simple
in a
sport.
circle, so make the points as simple
It's
as
an
possible.
oval. First of all, everybody's like, they just drive in a circle. I'm like, it's an oval, which means it's.
You're the
different.
biggest NASCAR fan. Do you like it?
I think it's awesome.
That's
I
great.
think it's fantastic.
Then we
He
support
should
you.
host the show.
We support you.
That'll wrap us up for. That'll wrap up this edition of
Wrap us up.
Unstoppable here on GWTV for the unstoppable Austin and the stoppable Andrew Hanks. We'll see you back here in a couple weeks. Stay tuned for more Unstoppable and Colonial Crossfire and other great